Hello everybody. So, before I let you in on what the title means, let me set the backdrop by summarizing both the general pro-choice and pro-life sentiments for or against abortion. So starting off with pro-choice, number one, the main one, is that the baby is a part of the woman's body, so the woman has sovereignty over the unborn baby, and the government therefore doesn't have the right to make decisions about who is killed inside of her body. Number two, banning abortion could have spillover effects into progressivism and intergender power structures and other group power dynamics in society and politics in general, and then Handmaid's Tale. Number three, the baby doesn't hold moral worth until it's at least sentient. Until then, it's just a clump of cells with no moral value. Number four, if abortion is banned, there will be more children born, contributing to overpopulation, and especially if children are born into poverty, they will additionally put strain on the welfare system. Number five, in cases of rape, incest, and one being underage, having to carry the baby to term could be considered an additional rights violation to the woman and would be traumatic and could also really screw up the pregnant woman's life. Number six, even if abortion was banned, women would just have abortions anyway, but they would have illegal abortions, which would just be more dangerous unnecessarily. And finally, number seven, controlling abortion is just a way to control women. We wouldn't even be having this argument if men could get pregnant. Well, this is basically just a massive logical fallacy, and come on, it's the year 2023. Men can get pregnant, turf. Onto the pro-life arguments. Number one, the main one, life begins at conception, and it is wrong to needlessly kill humans. The baby is a human life, therefore killing the baby is wrong, even if it is unborn. Number two, even if it is not sentient, once a life is brought into existence and it is going to become sentient, it has the right to not be killed and deprived of its future sentience, and doing so would be a rights violation. Number three, your body, your choice actually doesn't apply, as there is actually another body there which the choice is affecting by killing it. You have the right to bodily autonomy, but the limit of that is at most where you infringe on someone else's bodily autonomy. And granting the bodily autonomy of the unborn baby, killing it is a pretty big infringement. Number four, there is a spillover effect into culture which will devalue human life. It also has a spillover effect which legitimizes casual sex and hookup culture, which in this framework is also granted as a bad thing for several reasons, and STDs would also become more prevalent. Number five, access to abortion helps out sex traffickers as it reduces the risk involved for them. Number six, the baby could have grown up to cure cancer. Side note, the baby could have also grown up to be Hitler 2.0, so I don't think this is a valid argument either. Number seven, God is against murdering human life, and that doesn't have the caveat of sentience. Therefore, abortion is anti-God and maybe even Satanist. Number eight, since we can't know exactly where sentience begins in every case, by setting an arbitrary date where it's allowed, we could be killing tons of sentient beings. Number nine, put the child up for adoption if you don't want to take care of it. Number 10, it doesn't make sense to grant different rights to sentient beings based on geographic location, that geographic location being whether the baby is inside the womb, being unborn, or outside the womb. Those were the arguments I could think of. Leave more in the comments if you think of anything else that is important that I didn't cover. So, in my opinion, there is one point of contention which this whole argument hinges on, which makes every single other argument and point basically completely irrelevant. And that point of contention is the moral worth of the unborn baby. So I'm going to go through the arguments which depend on the moral worth of the unborn baby, or the lack thereof, of course, starting from the pro-choice section. And starting off with argument 1, if the unborn baby has moral worth, then the woman doesn't have sovereignty over its life, even if it's in her body, as it is a rights violation to kill it. And this is even more so if the woman did something which she knew could or would lead to its conception, but I'll get to the cases of rape and incest later, which are edge cases, by the way, that should be mentioned. But if the unborn baby doesn't in fact have moral worth, then absolutely the woman has sovereignty over her own body, because why wouldn't she? Argument number 2, if the baby has moral worth, then it's basically psychopathic to mass murder babies just to cause or prevent some kind of spillover effect into society. If the baby doesn't have moral worth, though, then the spillover effects into society should still be considered, but not that much, as it's not worth it to violate women's bodily autonomy for the case of just causing or preventing some indirect spillover societal effect. By the logic of argument number 4, if the unborn babies have moral worth, then it would also be morally valid to kill people indiscriminately to prevent overpopulation, or just to kill everyone on welfare. However, if unborn babies don't have the moral worth, then I guess the position on abortion could be largely informed by your personal position on natalism. Argument number 5. If the unborn babies do have moral worth, then rape, incest, etc., while still being terrible, they do not justify actually murdering the baby, as the baby is not an imminent threat to the life of the mother. Instead, the rapist should get the punishment. If the unborn baby doesn't have moral worth, then basically whether the woman should get an abortion would be completely up to her in this case. And argument number 6, if unborn babies have moral worth, then it would still be worth legalizing abortion, even if it would prevent a small fraction of them, or make abortion more dangerous, because it's not a rights violation for a woman in this case to choose to do something which is more dangerous, at least not to the degree of the rights violation that it would hypothetically be to murder a being with moral worth. Now, the pro-life section itself is just basically entirely focused on arguing that the unborn baby does have moral worth. So if the baby does, then all of their arguments are valid, and if it doesn't, then all of them are invalid. But if they are invalid, then women should be able to get abortions for whatever reason, basically. Except for the one that's like, it helps out sex traffickers, but still, that's probably not a good enough reason to ban it universally. So, the overarching point I'm trying to make is that what this entire abortion debate hinges on is whether or not this unborn baby has moral value. Every other argument basically is just side benefits. Oh, that's my cat. Every other argument basically is just side benefits or distractions, and it's a waste of time to argue them. So, what I just said is basically that regarding argumentation, the pro-life camp has the right idea and the pro-choice camp basically doesn't, and that the battleground, the intellectual battleground, is on whether or not unborn babies, preborn babies, whatever you want to call them, do have moral worth. So, what's the answer then? Do unborn babies have moral worth or not? Well, you can find the answer using whatever means you wish, or attempt to find it. You can set up a series of hypotheticals. You can make comparisons to real-world events. You can even try to define morality in order to do it. The proof is left as an exercise to the watcher. Wait, am I really that much of an asshole that after all of this, I'm not even going to tell you what I think about the unborn baby's moral worth? Yep. Thank you for watching.